Today in Chapter 31 of the Yoga Vasistha, we will discuss topics such as the science of vision, parachiti, the science of hearing and smell, the sense organs and the purity of the soul, the metaphor of the Puryashtaka, mirror, etc. We're diving deep into the very mechanics of existence today, O Rama. We'll be looking directly at the ancient machinery of illusion and honestly, the brilliant, unchanging light of truth that this text suggests sits right behind your own eyes.
Our agenda today covers 6 parts. First up, the science of vision. Second, hearing, smell, and taste. 3, the immutability of the soul. 4, the mystery of the sense organs. 5, the Puryashtaka, or the subtle body. And finally, a summary of Canto 31 to wrap it all up.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the science of vision, the truth of paratriti.
To really grasp this chapter, we first have to understand the principle of parachiti. What is it? It's the supreme consciousness. You see, the text argues that your physical eyes are just made of matter. They're completely inert. On their own, they are literally as blind as stones. It's only when parachiti flows through them that vision actually occurs. Think of parachiti as the battery, and your physical eyes are merely the bulbs.
Let me share verse 31 with you. The physical eye sees not by its own power, but by the light of the eternal soul. Ignorance binds the vision to the world of illusion. So the literal meaning here is that the eye itself is blind matter. Vision is just consciousness reaching outward through the lens of your ego. And the philosophical interpretation, it's incredibly profound. Because we're largely ignorant of parashakti, we mistakenly believe, hey, I, this physical body, am seeing this physical world. But this false identification binds our vision to maya, to illusion. We forget the source of the light because we become so obsessed with the objects it illuminates.
Now it's absolutely fascinating to observe how this ancient truth perfectly aligns with modern scientific understanding. Both recognize that the eye is really just a lens, while true perception happens deep within the unseen centers of the mind. Science tells us that light enters the cornea and travels as electrical impulses to the brain. The eye itself doesn't actually know what it's looking at, right? The brain processes it. But even beyond the brain, what is the awareness that actually experiences that processed image? Our text calls that ultimate observer parachiti. So both the ancient rishis and modern thinkers are pointing to the exact same reality. The perceiver is not the physical organ.
Moving right along to Section 2, hearing, smell, and taste, the inner receptacles.
Listen carefully to verses 33 and 34. Sound and scent do not enter the soul, but strike the mind's subtle instruments. The true perceiver remains untouched by the vibrations of the world. This literal translation explains how external stimuli interact only with your subtle elements, which we call tanmatras, and not with your true essence. Think about it. When a beautiful melody plays or you smell a fragrant flower, those vibrations do not actually touch your eternal soul. They merely vibrate against your physical organs, transmitting signals to your subtle mind. You, the true perceiver, watch this entire process in perfect, undisturbed silence. Let's break down these sacred terms so the practical, life-useful takeaway becomes crystal clear. First, the shrotra, your physical ear, is really just a funnel. Then we have the grana, your physical nose, which is just a tunnel for sense. And the tanmatra? That's the subtle essence or energetic blueprint that the mind actually registers. Notice how at every single step, the physical world is kept at a distance from your true self. The text is telling us that if you aren't the one actually being struck by these sounds and smells, the chaos of the world literally cannot harm you.
All right, Section 3. Immutability of the soul, beyond action.
Verse 3:5 tells us, though the body moves, acts, and perishes, the soul remains forever, motionless, untouched, and pure. Action belongs to the illusion. What this details is that no physical action, no matter how great or how terrible, can ever alter the absolute purity of your true self. Yes, the physical body, driven by the mind and life force, performs actions in the material world, but the soul itself, it is akarta, the absolute non-doer. It's the immovable foundation upon which the entire dance of the material world takes place.
Now, as detailed in Part 107 of our text, ego and ignorance stem from a very specific false belief. It's the belief that the eternal soul is the one actually performing these actions. Ahankara, the ego, proudly steps up and claims, I did this, I achieved this. And avidya, which is ignorance, is the veil that makes us believe the ego's lies. But the truth? The soul is completely immutable. It doesn't act, it doesn't age, and it definitely does not incur karma. When you finally detach from the ego, you free yourself entirely from the illusion of action.
Let's explore Section 4, the mystery of sense organs, conduits of illusion.
The great mystery revealed here in Part 110 is that these sense organs are actually just lifeless tools. Without prana, the subtle life force, your eyes cannot see and your ears cannot hear, even if the physical organs are in perfect condition. They're just a bridge. But here's the tragedy. Humanity stands on this bridge, looks outward, and assumes the physical world is the absolute reality. By turning our attention inward, away from external stimuli, the text suggests we can achieve profound detachment and peace. You use the senses to navigate the world, sure, but you do not let them dictate your reality. Which brings us to Section 5, Purishchatnika, the subtle body and the mirror. This is arguably the most crucial philosophical secret of our entire discourse. So, what exactly is the Purishchatnika? It's the subtle container of your life force, acting as a mirror that reflects the light of your pure soul directly into the physical realm. Puri literally means city, and Ashtaka means 8. So this 8-fold city consists of your mind, your intellect, your ego, and those 5 subtle senses we talked about earlier. This subtle body isn't physical matter, but it isn't the soul either. It sits right in between the two, functioning exactly like a mirror.
Verses 50 through 54 introduce a totally brilliant metaphor for this. Just as a mirror reflects the sun, the Purishchatnika reflects consciousness. When the mirror is flawed by ego, the reflection becomes the illusion of the world. Just as a mirror isn't the source of the light, your subtle body is not the source of your true life. Your pure soul is like the sun, shining universally. And your Purishchatnika is like a mirror held up to that sun. The reflection seems to be alive, but it's entirely dependent on the light source. If this inner mirror gets smeared with the dirt of ego and worldly desires, the reflection distorts, and that distortion creates the illusion of this chaotic world we experience.
Let's walk through the exact sequential mechanics of this, as detailed in Part 111. Step 1. Your physical eye encounters an object in the world, let's say a tree. Step 2. The life force carries this raw data to the mirror of your subtle body. Now Step 3 is where the danger lies. Your ego looks at the reflection and says, "That is my tree. I'll be so angry if someone cuts it down." Boom. That creates attachment and karma. But Step 4 is the ultimate truth. Pure consciousness, your true self, simply witnesses the reflection without being altered by it in the slightest. It's completely untouched by the tree, the desire, or the anger.
It is absolutely crucial to understand the spiritual significance here. You must not confuse the mirror of the mind or the reflection of the ego with the eternal light of the soul that illuminates both of them. Think about it. When you look into a mirror and see a smudge, you don't try to wipe your own face to fix it, right? No way. You wipe the mirror. Similarly, the anxieties and desires you feel belong entirely to the subtle body, not the soul. People today spend their whole lives trying to fix the reflection, completely forgetting the eternal light source. So how do we apply this wisdom as disciples? When you're walking through the battlefield of everyday life, remember that your eyes and ears are just gathering data. Your mind is just reflecting it. By polishing the mirror of your Purishchatnika, by removing those selfish attachments and desires, the mirror becomes completely still. And once it's perfectly still, it perfectly reflects divine truth. You suddenly realize you were never the moving reflection to begin with. You were always the motionless witnessing soul.
And finally, Section 6. Let's summarize Canto 31.
Let's quickly gather up the wisdom from today's explainer. The physical senses? They are totally empty without parachiti. Actions? They cannot touch the soul because the soul is totally immutable. And the subtle body? It is merely a mirror reflecting your divine essence. We don't analyze our senses just to become scientists of matter. We do it to learn how to look beyond the physical stimulus. We study action to find a real freedom from karma. And we study the Purishchatnika to learn exactly how to still the mirror and quiet the mind.
The ultimate realization of Canto 31 is this. The world you perceive is just a reflection, while you are the eternal untouched witness. Everything you love, everything you fear, the empires that rise and the bodies that fall, they are all just fleeting shapes dancing on the surface of your subtle mind. But behind it all, holding up the entire universe, is the Atman, silent, pure, and utterly free.
I leave you with this final, provocative thought today, O Rama. If your subtle body is merely a mirror reflecting consciousness into the world of illusion, what happens to the reflection when you finally hold that mirror perfectly still? When all desires cease, when the breath is calm, and the ego dissolves, the mirror stops shaking. And in that ultimate stillness, the reflection vanishes, leaving only the blinding, beautiful reality of supreme consciousness. Reflect on this, practice this detachment, and awaken to your true nature.